Alright, so in today's video, I got the Platinum Trophy on Life is Strange, a game where you play as a troubled teenage girl who is a photography major at the local college. And if that's not enough, she can also time travel with her dainty little hands and teleport through photographs. Here I am thinking her being a photography major in the big 25 was the strangest thing. Oh, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of bad dad jokes today, and I am sorry. But Life is Strange has a total of 61 trophies inside, including the Platinum, and every single trophy in this game, by the way, is entirely surrounding us just taking pictures of things, and also, you know, non-missable story trophies. But literally, there is not a single other thing you have to do for trophies aside from just take pictures of certain items throughout the game. Stage 1 is to complete the story and get all the collectibles, which is just the photos, as I've already mentioned 14 times. And this is also the only stage of the guide I followed because the Platinum is extremely easy. Anyways, Life is Strange first opens up with a cutscene showing Max, who is the girl we play as, waking up inside of a massive tornado that looks extremely realistic and not like a dream at all. Oh my god! It was a dream, and not this ugly. So yeah, that was a dream, and Max is a bit shocked, but then we were just in photography class and watched as normal school activities went down with kids messing around and the teacher acting like they are God to us all. But not much happened in this class except for some blonde bitch thinking she's better than us all. Ain't that the story of my life? The bell then rang and we got up to leave, but on the way out you can snap the first photo of the game, which was just this little doodle on a desk, and then the first trophy of the game popped as well. Once leaving the class, there was then a little credit intro scene and Max was just jamming out to some absolute bangers on the wired headphones. Okay, bro, we get it. Or a farm somewhere else, my god. Eventually, though, this will lead us into the girls' bathroom, and after Max washed her face to get reset after that nightmare a few moments ago, a blue butterfly flew into the window, and Max walked over to it to snap a little photo for, personal use. But then another cutscene would play, and it showed a boy named Jonathan walk in, who was one of the main villains, or antagonists, I guess you could say, of this game. Basically, he's just a big jerk to everyone, and also a rich kid, so the two might go hand in hand. However, another girl named Chloe, the blue-haired chick, would also walk in, and they got into a heated argument with Jonathan ultimately shooting her in the stomach in the middle of the day in a school. Oh, fuck. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. But Max would also end up using her time travel power that I mentioned in the intro of the game to accidentally fast travel back to the beginning of class a few minutes prior to Chloe getting shot. And this is the real backstory plot lore drop of the game. Max can for some reason all of a sudden control time by raising her hand up like she's using the Force or cosplaying as historical figures in history of the history. So seeing as Chloe died, who was also one of Max's old friends, she made it her goal to stop that, and we did that by simply getting back to that bathroom and then pulling a fire alarm in the bathroom to cause some chaos and as a distraction. This worked flawlessly, by the way, because loud sounds scare everyone except for Helen Keller. But then because that fire alarm was pulled, the school got evacuated as is procedure. And in the courtyard, I ended up getting a few trophies from snapping some classic photographs. The first one was just of a statue, and the second one was just from some poor kid who hit his ballsack after failing a trick. You then have to go to Max's room because it's like in between class or something. I don't honestly know. However, on the way, a bunch of popular girls were blocking the steps into the dorms, and that's such a move, low-key. So we tampered with the janitor's paint bucket, and it slid down, landing all over this mean girl named Victoria, who is a bitch. And she's still blonde, which is probably why. I also snapped another photo of her in paint, which wasn't even a trophy, just for the fun of it. Once making it to Max's room, though, I did snap a selfie in the mirror, and that was a trophy. We then found out that Victoria wasn't in her room because obviously she's cleaning up that paint that is now eating her ego alive. So we went into it effortlessly and reorganized her photos on the wall to resemble the bird. I snapped another photo and got another trophy. You then had to leave the dorms once grabbing this USB drive to go give to our friend Warren in the parking lot because that's where all of the good deals are done. On the way there, though, you also have to warn this fat chick to move out of the way of a football coming at her. Once done correctly, the ball will also smash her window. And that's another photo opportunity and trophy. And in the parking lot, I guess Walter White works here as well because his RV was just posted up, so we drew on it in honor of meth. Crystal meth for that matter. We then chatted to Warren a little bit, who also has a huge crush on Max, for some side info. But then Jonathan came over all mad because Max told on him with a gun to the principal earlier, and he then crushed Warren's skull with a headbutt. Nobody ever wins in a headbutt, by the way. But Chloe also drove over to pick us up, and then we left Warren to fend for himself. Boys will be boys, you know. So the rest of this little section then had Max and Chloe kind of bonding and catching up, seeing as she's not dead even though she should be. Little foreshadow there. Also, foreskin removal at 1,000,000. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. But Chloe and Max were best buds for a while until she went to the blue hair side, if you know what I'm saying. And there was then literally just girl talk for multiple minutes. And I don't really talk to females much, so I don't understand anything that was happening. But eventually we went with Chloe to the lighthouse from the intro of the game, except this time no tornado. Instead, just a bird. And I took its photo for another trophy. I then walked over to Chloe, and this was low-key scenic as a ballsack wrinkle in early spring. So I photographed her as well for another trophy pop. And I didn't miss any photos in the first episode of the game, so the trophy from getting them all pop here as well. The first episode of the game would then end here with the two talking once more about feelings. That is until Max has a brain aneurysm and ends up back in Tornado Funland. And you just kind of walk around this tornado world until finding a newspaper and then learning that this tornado is happening on Friday, the end of the week. Max then woke up from that, and Chloe was concerned because she is blacked out from her point of view. Thankfully, it then began to snow, so actually that's probably not a good thing. It's not wintertime. But hey, that's the first episode finished, and here's that trophy. Now, if you aren't aware, Life is Strange's first episode is actually free to play, so I didn't buy any of the others, and once seeing they all cost $5, I began to cry. Please subscribe to fund my gaming addiction. Also, I need better Wi-Fi. This is fucking tragic. So 99 hours later, once the rest of the game downloaded, I began episode 2, and it functions the same as the first one, and the entire game in general. You play as Max, obviously, and this one kicked off much slower with us just getting ready for school, which goes kinda hard. I love simulating the worst years of my life on God. Victoria, that blonde bitch, also trashed our room, which is just swell. But after Max was fully dressed, we went to some other girl's room named Kate and took a photo of her fat rabbit for a trophy. I then ended up outside a few moments later, and I got another trophy for my squirrel photo, one of many today. You then take the bus over to this diner where we were gonna meet Chloe at because she wanted to go there. And at the diner, you actually have 3 photo opportunities, which means 3 trophies, and I'm gonna come. The first one was from the diner sign, then from a stray dog, and finally from a dirty bathroom mirror. It's no wonder this dumb bitch is still in school for photography. What the hell are these photo choices? Anyways, after that, Chloe showed up eventually, and this is where you kind of just prove to her about our powers because she wasn't super convinced yet. But once doing that, she takes us to this junkyard, which seems like a not so good place to play in, but Chloe is such a rebel, it's just like home to her. And there's 2 more photo opportunities here as well. The first one was from a school bus, then from a see-through deer. It isn't hunting season yet though, so that makes complete sense. There was then a little puzzle which had us find these beer bottles around the place to set them up so Chloe could practice shooting a pistol that she stole. Fun fact, she ends up shooting herself on accident. This girl might actually be retarded. But you can snap a photo of her again here for another trophy pop. After that, this drug dealer dude showed up and exposed some more plot to us. Chloe got in with some very, very bad people and owes this guy thousands of dollars, which is a big deal because that can be taxed by the IRS, obviously. Once he leaves though, the two then decided to chill out on an active railroad track. Again, very smart. And Chloe got stuck. Not sure how, but we then had to figure out how to free her so she wouldn't get fucking run over. And this was thankfully very simple, just requiring us to hit the train's lever over to stop the tracks and release her leg. We were then back in school, and I got my last few photo trophies of this episode. First from Warren and his chemical experiment. You could say there was chemistry between us. F off. I also took another photo of this elusive fat chick, and that was the final one, so here's that episode 2 photo trophy completion. But episode 2 was a bit more graphic in its ending compared to the first one, just having ominous snow. This time, a girl named Kate Marsh would end up jumping off of the roof like Kermit the Frog in that one video. And she did this because she got videotaped doing some, very suggestive things at a party, and it got sent to everyone and kind of went viral on the internet. Absolutely disgusting. But where is that video? I'm just kidding. That's horrible. And you can't even stop it with time travel powers, mostly because we used up too much of it saving Chloe from a train earlier. Again, retarded. But before episode 2's ending, you have a little meeting with the principal because we were up there trying to help Kate. And then another weird weather event occurs, having a solar eclipse happen unexpectedly, which is weird because that just does not happen. But it still did give us a trophy and Warren a boner. Anyways, episode 3 then began after I lost my entire savings to purchase it. I waited another 99 hours for it to download, but this one took place almost entirely in the nighttime because that does also occur in the world we are in. But Max and Chloe were set on searching for clues or hints at who caused Kate Marsh to ultimately become Kermit the Frog. And we got inside Victoria's room once more because the girl is never there. I don't even know why she has a room. And inside of it, there wasn't any clues, but we did take a photo of some action figure, and I assume this is an Easter egg for other Square Enix games, which are the developers of this one. If I'm wrong, it doesn't matter because the trophy still popped. Eventually, we made it outside again. I took another photo of a squirrel for another trophy pop, and we would also end up running into the principal of the school having a rough drunken good night for good reason. But he wouldn't let us pass him regardless of our great excuse being, I need to go on a walk. However, you can just go back in time to when he was first leaving his residence and then sneak by. We then met up with Chloe and talked about breaking into the school to search the principal's office for clues and what he really has on students, so we did just that. Inside the school there was also a lot of photo trophies, so I went and just did those before actually pursuing the break-in goal. First taking photo of an aquarium for a trophy, and then of a skeleton smoking, which as a man, I gotta say, that's badass, baby, let's go. Back to the main goal, however, the principal's door was locked and only he has the key to it. So being the girl genius we are, a plan was formed. And we had to go find the ingredients to make a home-cooked bomb to break the door's lock, which was shockingly easy, and I am now concerned for the safety of everyone. But once it blew the door open, the alarms went off because we obviously just caused a disturbance in the force. But if you just walk in and then go back in time to before we blew the door, you can do a little trick to just open it freely. Inside the office, there's also another photo trophy from taking yet again another Chloe photo. We might have enough photos of her now to release a new edition of Blue Hair Weekly for those people. Long story short, however, the two didn't really find anything new or surprising in their records that wasn't already assumed. So to cool off from their failure, they went and took a swim in the pool with the light on in the middle of the night. Totally a great idea and not at all attention grabbing to anyone outside who was a security guard. Oh, yup, the retards alerted security again. There was then a little stealth section, and it was actually super easy to do, ending off with just a cutscene. Don't we love that? You then stayed the night at Chloe's again, and there was a very long, and I mean very long section which just had you two sitting in bed, and this lasted for like 5 minutes straight. Boy, what I would do for that much stamina. Eventually though, you do get up and leave, and I took a photo of myself in the mirror again for another trophy. I then walked out to Chloe's backyard and I snapped another bird photo for again a trophy. The security guard from the school is also Chloe's stepdad, which is a big conflict in the story, and we just kind of laid into him for being weird. After that family matter, however, you end up back at the diner from earlier, and I again got a few trophies from photos here. First from a trucker's truck, which was dope, and then from an ant circle of feeding on a dead animal, much more ominous. There was then a very long dialogue portion that had us bouncing between the drug dealer guy, Nathan, and a cop inside the diner, sort of just finding out a ton of info while abusing the time travel chick we have to surprise them with things they accidentally or hadn't yet said. But that ultimately led us to stealing the drug dealer's RV key, so we then broke into his RV that was parked outside. Also, why is it that every drug dealer has an RV? Is that like a calling sign like the blue hair thing is? Inside the RV though, we did find drugs, obviously, but also a diary showing his love interest and relationship with a girl named Rachel, who I haven't mentioned yet, but she went missing and is a big part of this game's story. Rachel was also Chloe's love interest before she, you know, kicked the bucket. And we were sort of trying to find her and who did it. After that though, Max ended up back in her room and was reminiscing on better times as a child, so much so that she pulled herself into the photo, and we played as young Max for a little bit. I also took the last photo of the episode here for that trophy, and the trophy from getting all the episode 3 photos. But this memory we went back to was also the last day Chloe's real dad was alive, before he left the house and got in a car accident. And in this game, Max really tries to make everything perfect, so he chose to just steal the dude's car keys, which prevented him from getting in the crash, and it worked. So when Max went back to current time, things were a bit different, and she went straight to Chloe's house to find her dad alive and well. Chloe, however, is, now cosplaying as a vegetable. This is what happens when you don't turn on post notifications on the channel, by the way, so be careful.
What did he say?
So that was it for episode 3, and the 4th one then began after I took out a loan and waited another 99 hours. And this one began with us still in that parallel timeline, but it was kind of boring and also super sad. And we have fun on this channel, so long story short, Max went back to the childhood memory and didn't do anything this time, letting what should happen, happen. Ending up waking back in reality the normal way with Chloe. And back in real life this time, I got another photo trophy almost immediately from Chloe again. In her garage, there was also a bird's nest, which I photographed as well for again another trophy. At school, I also took a photo of a Karen, and I still have PTSD from these. If you played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you know what I'm talking about. I want to murder the inventor of these things. Anyways, I got another trophy from another squirrel photo, and then from some big ass footprints outside. Chloe and Max then went to find the drug dealer guy who was by a beach, and on the beach, a bunch of whales all washed up dead. I think nature might be trying to tell us something, I'm not gonna lie, but I photographed it yet again for a trophy. We then asked the drug guy some more info and would end up just shooting him. That guy. There was then a little evidence put together scene where we essentially solved the mystery, at least the broad version of it, and it led the two to a barn in the middle of nowhere that is owned by Nathan's parents. I also took a photo of a bird in the midst of this. We are definitely autistic. Inside the barn trying to get this hatch open, we also spotted an owl and got it on camera as well. You then had to do a puzzle to open the hatch, heading downstairs in the barn, and it led to a very sophisticated room, which is where the villains of today have been, and I quote, drugging innocent girls and photographing them with very exposing outfits. Horrible stuff. They also killed him after, which, yeah, that might take the cake. And this also led us to finding the location of where they buried one of the people whom we thought to be Rachel. And it was just in the junkyard where these idiots have been playing an all game. Yeah, you deserve to cry, retard. Sorry, but like, come on, you go here every day and you somehow missed a body being buried there? Alright, bro, alright. Anyways, the episode then brings us to a party at the school celebrating the end of the world. And I got a trophy here right away from photographing a double moon, which is totally normal. I then took the final photo of the episode in a bathroom. Kind of dope. And I got that all photo trophy like usual. But this club part was kind of confusing because I didn't really know what to do. However, I eventually found my way to the VIP area, and we would also find out that Nathan, the kid we are after, isn't even here. So we came for basically no reason. But then Max and Chloe headed back to the junkyard to see the body again, which was stupid because they went at night. You never go see a dead body at night, everyone knows that. And the two ended up getting jumped with Max being sedated and Chloe being shot f***ing dead. The person who did it then comes on screen, and it was the photography teacher all along. I knew a teacher who looked that good had to be an evil bastard. It's now time for the final episode, episode 5. And this one consisted pretty much entirely of Max in the darkroom, as they call it, getting photographed by the photography teacher before he kills her. The first trophy I got was actually from photographing Kate Marsh, when Max found a way to go back in time like usual to save her butt. And she also created an alternate universe where the teacher got caught way ahead of anything happening, which saved a lot of people and even sent her to an art show in her efforts. In that show, I also got another trophy from photographing things. But due to her stopping the teacher, it still caused a chaos theory breakoff, which is kind of the underlying lesson of this game. If you change anything that shouldn't have happened, it causes chaos. Ever heard of the butterfly effect? Yeah, that's what this game really is teaching. Fate. How deep. So Max went back to reality because the world kind of got f***ed by her, and she was again in the dark room. But while here, you can get another trophy from having the teacher take a selfie of us, so that's cute. But it would end up finishing off this dark room arc with David actually finding us, and through a lot of help, we got him to stop the teacher. And I mean a lot. Bro couldn't win a fight if you gave him a gun. Literally. After he set us free though, we then ran over to the tornado to find Warren, who had a photo of us before Chloe got shot. On the way though, I got a few more photo trophies as usual of chaos occurring around the place. But then we did find Warren in the diner and he gave us the photo we were after. So we went back to it once more. And again, after warning Chloe of her death, the chaos still occurred and the tornado to eat the world did happen again. Which led us to going back to day 1 once more, although things were a bit different and kind of scary. I did get another photo trophy though, so that's fun, and things were very weird this time. Like above average weird. But still, there was many photos to be taken and trophies to get. Eventually though, you get sent to a sort of shadow dimension, having to sneak around as a ton of people are hunting you. And you can get another photo trophy here as well from taking a photo of Warren's locker. I don't know if this is real or not, but bro might have more than a crush on the girl. The final photo can then be taken after finding all the beer bottles once more in this area, which was a neat little shout out to earlier. And I got it right here with the all episode 5 trophy popping as well. Meaning we have officially taken every photo. Jesus Christ, how do we afford that much camera film? The game then ends off with Max and Chloe having a deep talk about how to solve all this chaos Max has caused. And ultimately, it comes down to the butterfly effect. Literally, like I said. So you end up in the faded bathroom again, and Nathan and Chloe get into their argument. He shoots her, and you can't do a thing about it. Having to let it happen, which was the butterfly effect that triggered all of this. Absolute cinema, I can't even lie. This would make a banger movie. There was then some ending cutscenes before credits rolled, but once they did, all the photos in the game's trophy popped, with the platinum added on. So that was the Life is Strange Platinum Trophy experience. I honestly love this game. I think it has an amazing story, but there was a few weird or not necessarily needed moments. I also do think them not digging up Rachel's face was kind of weird because that body could have been anyone's, to be honest. But still, was a very fun and cool platinum to get. Giving it a rating out of 10, I'll give it a solid 8. And yeah, that's it. Working on some big videos right now, so stay tuned or I'll f*** you.